Welcome to DowerChan.com. All right, today we're going to take a look at the Samsung Galaxy Note Pro. This is their 12.2-inch tablet. Now, this is the Wi-Fi only, 32 gigabytes of storage. It comes in 64 as well if you wanted to. Basically, this is just from what I can tell so far, a larger version of their Note series tablets. So let's take a look at what this guy's got. Well, this boxing wise, this is their kind of a wood-like look. If you've seen my previous unboxings, sort of like, say, the 10-1 2014 edition, has a very similar kind of woody-looking type box. And for the most part, from what I can tell so far, and what little I've done, spec-wise, it's pretty much almost identical to the 10.1 2014 edition. So I won't go into that a lot right now. We'll just open this guy up and see what we get in the box. All right. Okay, there's the tablet in all its glory. It is quite a sizable tablet. I'll do a comparison with some of the other ones later on, just to get it to. It's hard to tell from a video, but you'll see once I do a comparison to it. But it's actually very light. It weighs a little under 2 pounds apparently, from what if you read the literature. So let's see what else we get with this thing. Let's see. Let's put this aside for a minute. Underneath this little flap, we have a replacement nibs for the pen. So the whole lot of little nibs in there and a bigger puller. You have a USB 3 cable. Now this is interesting because the 10.1 2014 is only it's a micro USB and it's not USB 3. So it may be just for faster charging because this thing supposedly has a gigantic battery in it. But it has a very similar, this is the same power adapter that came with the 10.1 2014. I think it's the same one that comes with the Note 8 as well. So that sits in the box. So okay, so now that I have a chance to basically use the Note Pro, configure it, and put some apps on it, I wanted to take a look at it in comparison to the thing that's closest to it. It's basically its sister tablet, the Note 10.1 2014 edition. And so as you see, I have it on top, and for the most part, design-wise, looks very similar. Only obviously the big difference is the Note Pro is quite a bit larger. So let's take a tour of the two together real quick. From top, you can still see the same power button, volume rocker. There's a microphone on the Note Pro up on top, a little tiny hole there. And then there's the IR blaster for using for infrared remote control stuff. Touring to the right side of the device, you can see that this is where the S Pen sits. The same S Pen as the Note Pro's S Pen is the same as the 10.1 2014s. You get the right side speaker, and the interesting thing you'll see on this side, on the center of the right side of the Note Pro, is a USB 3 connector, being both on the right side and being USB 3. It's actually quite an enhancement in a way. And scooting over, we see the cover for the micro SD card slot. Going to the bottom side of the device, on the Note Pro, there's nothing there. And in the 2014 edition, we have the micro USB charging port right here, and the microphone hole right there. And going to the right side of the device, there's really nothing there except for the right side speaker and the headphone jacks. So that's what's there. From the front of the device, there's not a whole lot that's different. You can see it's actually very similar. You have the front-facing 2 megapixel camera. The back camera is 8 megapixel on both of them, and both have the same flash, which is nice to have. Then basically looking down on this side, the buttons are similar. The home button, back button. The one difference now is that this button on the Note 10.1 2014 edition is a little stack button, which actually brings up a menu, versus the Note Pro, which has sort of like it's like a multiple window type button, which basically brings up it brings up the running applications list, and I'll show you that in a second. So, um, let's put this one away. We'll take a look at the 20 the Note Pro. Oh, and just to let you know that one of the other differences obviously is this guy came pre-installed with Android 4.3. This has been updated to 4.4 because that became available by the time I had gotten this one. And so they both are running both versions 4.4.2 version of KitKat. Even though they have the same operating system, the big difference is the integrated magazine UI or UX. Actually, I'll show you right here. So the 2014 edition 10.1 here, basically the magazine interface is a swipe up, and it kind of takes a moment and the news comes up. So this is the integrated flipboard component here. And it's okay if you like to have it this way. Some people have been annoyed by the fact that it's there because it's kind of easy to kind of simply swipe up and suddenly the magazine is in your face. Then you have your typical widgets that are part of the system. And but now let's take a look at what Samsung did for the magazine component here. So with the bigger screen, as I make this thing go landscape. So what they did instead now is basically, like I said, with this button, it brings up a list of all the things that are running on the system. And instead of being a swipe up to bring anything up, you just simply kind of go to the side, and suddenly these full screen widgets are just like other pages in your standard Android interface. And so you can see that there's some common things like your calendar, email, some of the Flipboard magazines that you can subscribe to. You have some other widgets for like office applications, you know, some videos and whatnots. So some people may find this useful, some may not. The one thing that I do find partially useful, or partially not very useful, is the fact that these tiles they don't really update very often. I don't know if it's something that was supposed to have been done, but really, you kind of have to manually kind of go through them for them to update. So it's not very surprising for you to come in here and say, "Oh, I saw this a week ago or 2 weeks ago," because they'll kind of sit around for a while. They don't automatically update. It would be nice if they did. They kind of don't, because I've actually seen this one quite a while now, as well as this one. So there's not a whole lot going on. Obviously, clicking on something like news here will take you to the full Flipboard component, and you can basically have more access to the other magazines and stories that are of interest. So it's kind of nice it's integrated, but it would have been nice if they had well, it was little bit more interactive, I guess, as opposed to kind of like, okay, it's the same thing I saw before. It doesn't automatically update. So it's a little bit of I think it's sort of missing that. Simply adding things to these, so you can add pages that are magazine X pages, and here right here you have a list of some of the news items that you can put on. You can add a new page. You have some common social things you can put on, like YouTube, Twitter, LinkedIn, a few other ones here that you may use. Some applications that you can put on. And so you can simply just hit plus here and then just take something, drag it out. Like, so I want to put my Handcom Office right here, which I did on this other one. But like, say, put my music. Take that, drag it over here, and it becomes a widget you can actually size. So, you know, so if I want it taller or I want it wider, I can do so. It kind of gives me the ability to do that. And then basically from there, you can go back out this way, and now it's there, and I can add more if I wanted to. If I want to get rid of it, I can simply hold this and remove it, and it's gone. So that's the magazine UX that Samsung had put on top of their TouchWiz. So that's kind of a significant difference between the 10.1 2014 edition and the Note Pro. So let's take a look at some of the applications and just kind of look at like reading a few things or using for note taking, and just kind of get a feel for the benefits of having such a large tablet. I mean, this is a bigger tablet. I mean, that's not that mince words. It's a 12.2 inch tablet. It still weighs under 2 pounds, so about 1.65 pounds or so. So, but it's still, with the weight distributed on something this large, it doesn't feel that heavy, and it's actually very, very light in comparison, I guess. So now obviously this is lighter, but being that it just having the size is well, you would buy this really for the size. Just what attracted me to this one is just the fact that it was just big. I mean, you know, you can physically compare size wise. I mean, you're getting that much more real estate. And with someone who has failing eyes like mine, it's kind of a relief to have something a little bit bigger. So, all right, let's take a look at some things here. So, I'm going to tilt this to portrait mode, and that way I can fit them side by side here on the screen. So, well, let's see. Let's take a look. See. All right, how's that? So, first things first, let's take a look at some of the things. So, I'm going to bring up the task manager on 10.1, and I'll bring those on here. And we'll take a look at reading comics. So, let's just say the comicsology on both of these guys. So, you see, you just get that much, a little bit more space, and things are just a little bit bigger, and it's kind of nice. Performance wise, it's going to be pretty similar. They under the hood, they have the same processor. Yeah, yeah, I don't really notice any performance differences between the two. Oops, pardon me. And that was something if you want to know that the one of the new things with KitKat is this panel that comes out. These are all the applications you can kind of put on for multitasking. It makes a bit more sense on the bigger screen because you have just that much more space for it. And indeed, the way that Samsung did this stuff on here, it does tend to multitask a little bit better. Things open up in Windows, which is quite nice, and it can be very handy in some instances. Some folks might not care about that, but it's one of the features we would buy something like this for. So you can see, reading wise, if I don't do that, um, things are just a little bit bigger. Text is just a tad bit bigger, a little easier on the eyes. Just things are just, well, larger. Uh, let's go and take a look at looking at PDFs, for example. So I'll bring the task manager up on this guy, and this one here, and we'll look at a PDF I was looking at earlier. And this is an older issue of Imagine FX magazine. It's a relatively heavy PDF. So you see that obviously it doesn't fill up the full screen exactly, but even what you see here, it is bigger, and handles this PDF just fine if I don't bring that little panel out. Um, and as you can see, the screen contrast is exactly the same on the two. The colors are very nice. It's got great contrast. It's a beautiful screen. There's no complaints there. So just a sample of looking at how reading a PDF is like. Well, let's see what else we can do with this thing. Go back here, bring the task manager up, and we'll take a look at, see what else are they doing over here in this guy. Well, let's see. Well, taking notes is going to be exactly the same. So this is the built-in notes application. I created this document originally in a different aspect ratio, being landscape instead of portrait. But as you can see, that basically the taking notes is just as simple on both of them. So all right, that's pretty much a good view of just kind of like the screen, and just a sample of the size differences when doing some common tasks like reading magazines and comic books and so forth. But let's take a look at well, let's go back and actually do some drawing. So something that I encountered on this guy, that's something that you may want to take note of, is using something like Sketchbook Pro. If you're drawing on the screen, drawing something, or using I was using the airbrush. Sorry, it's like say if you're drawing something here, and you're going along real nice, and suddenly you just something on the side here, this kind of comes out. That's very annoying. So if you're trying to draw a swirl, and oh look, it comes out this way. That's kind of annoying. So the only way you can get rid of that is you can basically bring the notification panel down, which on this screen is actually kind of huge. But if you turn off the multi window, that will turn that multitasking off, and now you're free to kind of sketch around the sides and not have to worry about maybe doing this to get out of the way so you don't bring that up. So that's something that's you pretty much eliminate the multitasking capability, but you also eliminate the ability for that thing to keep flying out, because you can't move that. As far as I know, you can't move that. If you can, please someone let me know. But as far as I know, you can't move that. So I was working on some sketches earlier. I go to my gallery. I won't save that, but I was working on one of these guys, and open that up. So I was, if I can just get to this guy all of a sudden. Come on. There, let's see. Oh, I'm not sure why it's not letting me edit this thing all of a sudden. Oh, here we go. I'm not awake. Sorry, folks. So I'll load this guy up, twist it this way, and actually I'm twisting it that way. I drew this originally in landscape mode. So basically from here, I can kind of continue drawing, fix the different tools, like maybe a little extra color in this guy, maybe. Just add some more to it, make it a little more interesting. So having having all extra space is really kind of nice. Just a larger. So I mean, you're buying this primarily so you can get a larger display, and for the spec wise, the same as the 10.1, like I said before. The nice thing then is if you do decide to turn multitasking back on, things you can do is turn that multi-window thing back on, and I can scoot this out, and for example, I can basically go to pull YouTube out and make it something that kind of pops in, and basically say if I want to take notes while watching a video, for example, I can take S note, stick it on the side here like so, and I can say, oh, yeah, I want to watch some maybe a Khan Academy video or something on YouTube, and I can basically start taking notes over here. It's like, oh, there, wow, great video. So it's kind of nice to be able to basically say, oh no, we'll just watch this video. It's a documentary on poisonous snakes. All right, so we'll watch that. And the speakers on this thing are quite nice. They have a good amount of volume to them. Or I can flip them this way. There. And I can change the window size a little bit too. Make the top a little bit smaller, a little bigger. Look.
Nature is a battlefield. Now, a group of animal rebels emerge, armed with a new and deadly chemical weapon, ready to...
So you get the idea. So basically, what's kind of cool is I can watch something. So if I want to watch like a documentary, a tutorial, I can take notes down here and just continue working at the same time, which is very cool. And if I wanted to, I can bring out, say, oh, I need to go and search something on Chrome. I can pull those out and then go back and forth between the two, so that everything's available. So it's a very handy mechanism, and it works well because the screen is once again large enough to handle that. So there you have it. So there's my look at the Note Pro, Samsung Galaxy Note Pro, compared to the comparing it to its sister tablet, the 10.1 2014 edition. Both are very good tablets. And obviously, price-wise, it's going to be about $200 more expensive for the bigger one. And what you're going to get basically is screen and if you really care, modified magazine UX. But having a little bit bigger, it works a little bit better for some of the multitasking capabilities that Samsung has built in. And in general, just maybe a bit more of a pleasurable experience reading some things on a larger screen. Of course, being larger, a little bit less portable, but build quality is the same, still very good. Doesn't the weight really isn't all that bad, and it's a pleasure to use. So I'll be interested to see what the Surface Pro 3 has to offer, because that's around the same size as this. So we'll have to see if I get one next month. All right, and as always, if you have any other questions or something I didn't see or didn't cover, or something I'm not clear about, please, send me a comment below and subscribe. Thank you.